Hey y'all, it's Leslie Ann. So today's video is completely different than what I normally post on this channel. And it really doesn't have anything to do with school or teaching or classroom or TPT. In a roundabout way it does, but not really. So if you have followed me for a while, then you know I am a huge reader. I'm always reading something. I have a bookstagram account, which is just like Instagram for books. I will link it below if you're a big reader too, but I am never not reading something. I am in the middle of the biggest reading slump I've ever had. I have read like maybe 3 books this summer. Normally in a month I read on average 8 books. In the summer I usually read about 12 books a month, and I'm fine with not reading anywhere near that number, but it really concerns me that this month I've read 1 book. But what concerns me even more is the fact that the last 3 books I have tried to read, I've read to like 150, 200 pages in, and I just could care less about the book. I am just so frustrated right now. I want to read a book and I want to just get, you know, suckered in and not be able to put it down, and I have not had a book like that in so long. So I have come up with a plan, and that's where this video comes in. So if you don't follow Bookstagram or like BookTube, which is YouTube for books, then you might not know what a TBR is. If you've never heard of that, a TBR is just a to be read list. And a lot of the booktubers and bookstagrammers come up with a monthly TBR list, which is just books that they are planning on reading the next month. They post a video about it or a picture about it. I have never done that because I've never made a TBR. I just pick up whatever I'm in the mood to read. That has been a little problematic here lately because I can't get into anything. For the first time ever, I'm creating a TBR, posting it here, and then I'm going to check back in 1 month. Normally they do this at the beginning of the month, but it's like, what, the 20th of July? I can't wait another 10, 11 days until I post this because I'm ready to get going on a plan. So I'm posting it today, and I'm going to check back in 1 month, so like mid-August. I'm going to check in, and hopefully I'll have read the 5 books that I'm going to share with y'all today. You might not be interested in this video, and that is perfectly fine. I'm doing this more for myself anyways. I just want to find a way to hold myself accountable to see if I can get back into reading. Some of you probably are thinking that this is just completely insane. And yes, reading is just a hobby. My mom can't understand that. She thinks it's just, you know, so silly to be stressed about reading. And I'm not stressed about reading. I'm just frustrated that I can't get into a book. Teaching, we all know, is so stressful. And reading is just my way to escape that every afternoon. I just love to come home and sit down and read. And I'm just frustrated that I can't find anything to read right now. So here's where the TBR is. Today, in this video, I'm going to share the 5 books that I am going to commit to reading this month. Now, like I said, on average I read about 8 books a month, so I'm only putting 5 on my TBR, and then of course if I read those I'll read others, but it is my goal to get through these 5 in this month. Now a lot of you might think this is the wrong way to do this, and that by forcing myself to read these I'm just gonna not like them, and I get that, and I'm worried about that. I'm hoping by making this video that I'm making it a little bit more purposeful for me, and y'all are gonna hold me accountable. So I've rambled for 5 minutes. Let's get into the books that I am going to read in the next month. Okay, so the first book on my TBR is our book club pick for the month of July. Still haven't read that one. I've not even attempted it. It's not one of the ones that I've tried to get into and I can't. I've been putting it off because I am so worried that I'm not going to be able to get into it, and it's our book club pick and I need to discuss it with everyone. So I'm gonna do it with this TBR. It is Megan Miranda's newest book, The Last House Guest. This is our book club pick for July. Like I said, if you want to join our book club, just grab a book, read it. I'm going to post about it and we'll be able to discuss there. It's on my Instagram for books, which I'll leave down below. This one is a thriller. It's about 2 best friends, and then one of the best friends is murdered and the other best friend is a suspect. I love Megan Miranda's other 2 books, All the Missing Girls, which is fabulous. If you've not read that one, it's one of my favorite thrillers of all times. She's also written The Perfect Stranger, I think. It's really good too. She does write a couple of young adult thrillers that I haven't loved as much. I'm worried about this one. It's gotten mixed reviews, but love the cover. The cover's really pretty. So I have high hopes for it, but the mixed reviews does kind of worry me. But this one's going to be first up on my TBR because it is our book club pick. Next two on my TBR are actually rereads, which is what I do when I'm in a big reading slump. I always find a favorite book and I reread it. So I'm hoping that this one will help me. The first one I'm going to reread is my all-time favorite book. Well, like top 3 all-time favorite books. It's Prep by Curtis Sittenfeld. This is such an amazing story. It's written in like 2004. It's kind of old, but it's a classic. I love this book. It follows a girl named Lee. It follows her through her freshman year of high school, through her senior year of high school. She's at a boarding school and she's sort of socially awkward, and it's just her struggles on fitting in. It's just so good. I loved this book, so I'm hoping to get back into reading and fall in love with reading again by rereading this one. Another reread is going to be Gods in Alabama. This is another favorite of mine. I don't remember hardly anything about it, but I love a good Southern fiction story. Not something that's overly Southern fiction like fried green tomatoes. I don't like that, but I love just a hint of Southernness, and I think that this one will be good to get back into reading because I remember falling in love with this book, and I remember that there's some sort of mystery to it. Somebody dies, like the quarterback of the football team. I don't remember much about it. It's not a thriller, it's just like a general fiction, but it's so good. I'm going to reread it this month. The fourth book I'm going to read this month is Dear Wife by Kimberly Bell. Kimberly Bell is a thriller writer. She's written, I think she's written a lot. I've read The Marriage Lie. That was our book club pick like 2 summers ago. It is phenomenal. I could not put that one down. She also wrote 3 Days Missing, which I read last summer, and it's about a second grade boy who goes missing on a field trip in the woods. It's like a camping field trip. It's really good too. I'm going to get through Dear Wife this next month. I don't know hardly anything about this one. I know it is a wife who is trying to escape an abusive marriage, and then there's these other characters, and the wife goes missing or she ends up dead, and somehow the two stories are intertwined. I don't know, but Kimberly Bell writes a fascinating story that is very fast-paced and addicting, so I'm hoping it's a good one to get me out of the slump. And the last one that I'm going to read is a romance. Romance is my favorite genre, and I was lucky enough to get an arc of Christina Lauren's new book. This one comes out in October. It's called Twice in a Blue Moon. I have loved everything since Christina Lauren wrote Love and Other Words. Everything before that I did not like. She wrote Dating You, Hating You, didn't like that one. Roomies, didn't like that one. But since she's written, that one came out I think last February, and it's my favorite of theirs. She's written several, or it's like a two sisters, I think. Everything they've written since then I have just fallen in love with. So I have high hopes for this one. I think this one is a second chance story about childhood sweethearts or high school sweethearts, which is one of my favorite storylines. So I'm hoping it is just wonderful. If you've never read a Christina Lauren book and you love romance stories, I highly recommend them. They are so good. Okay, so those are my Those are my 5 books that I'm going to get through this next month. Again, this is different than what I normally post, and if this is not your thing, feel free to click off of it. I just want to find a way to make reading purposeful and just to kind of hold myself accountable so I can get over this slump. So I'm going to check back in 1 month, give you a recap on all of these that I hopefully and will get through, and what I thought about each one. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you watch in 1 month so that you can come back and hear all of my thoughts. Anyways, I hope you don't mind this kind of different video on this channel, but it is what it is. So I'll talk to you guys the next time, I promise, with some teaching content. See y'all later. Bye.